And while still discussing that, I'd like to say a very special thank you to the leaders, the government, the president and leaders of South Africa. And I'll tell you why. Just about a week ago, you may not know what I did for you. What we did was to rescue the nation from imminent bloodshed, anarchy, and possible dissolution. I know you didn't think so, but I saw that in the spirit. I don't get involved in just, whenever there's a problem in the country. No. I only did because God asked me to intervene and speak. And I called on those who were unhappy with the situation with immigrants. And I said, don't attack the immigrants, protest to the government. And the government will hear you. And they will take actions as they know necessary according to your laws. But don't take the laws into your hands and attack the immigrants. Don't do it. That'll make you either as bad as they are, if not worse. And I called on the government to respond and do something about it and protect not only the immigrants, but I showed you that such things often spiral into regrettable extremities. Maybe you didn't know that there were satanic plans to cause chaos for your country, far beyond the matter of immigration. That was just the way that Satan was going to come in and then manipulate patriotic citizens and use them for his nefarious activities. Undiscerning, they wouldn't have known, they wouldn't have realized that what they thought was good for their country could go off the cliff and become a terrible problem, irreversible, until the nation was split in three. I just told you what it would have split into. 3 countries. You say, how is that? Because that was planned a long time ago. They've just been unable to do it. You say, who are they? Don't worry about them. Thank God for your victory today. But you have to keep it. You have to keep your victory. Remember, as patriotic as David was, he didn't realize that a simple action of calling for a census, you'd say, what was wrong with the census? Well, he didn't realize that as honorable as that was in itself, Satan was moving him to do it. And who would have known that it was Satan that was behind it? Except that the scriptures tell us it was Satan. Look at your Bible for a second. 2 Chronicles chapter 21. And look at verse 1. Did I say second? 1 Chronicles. It's 1 Chronicles chapter 21. From verse 1. And Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel. Let's read it from the TEV. The TV is also known as a Good News Bible. Satan wanted to bring trouble on the people of Israel. So he made David decide to take a census. How clear is that? Satan wanted to bring trouble on the people of Israel. He wasn't just trying to attack David. No, he motivated, provoked, incited David to make a decision to take a census. Read from the TLB, the Living Bible. Then Satan brought disaster upon Israel, for he made David decide to take a census. Disaster. Did David know that that was a problem coming? It led, you can read the whole story for yourself. It led to the death of 70,000 men. 70,000 men. The women and the children were not counted. 70,000 men were killed. He didn't know. So those patriotic citizens who were, championing the cause, and they wanted the immigrants, they said, we want all illegal immigrants to get out of our country, and so on and so forth. And they were about to take the laws into their hands. And they actually did. For several days. And then they planned for the 30th of June, until I warned. So I wasn't just trying to get involved in some business of some other country. No, there's a time for everything. Even I told them about what Nigeria did years ago with Ghana. And not long ago, just a few years ago, they had the End SARS movement. All right? Now, they had legitimate reasons to be angry. The people had legitimate reasons to be offended. They said there were police excesses. Well, they had lots of good reasons. But what they didn't know was that Satan was moving them to destroy their country. There were churches who were supporting it. There were ministers of the gospel who were instigating their young people to go out in the street, march against the government. They weren't thinking. They weren't praying. They weren't listening to God. Of course, for most of them, they've never trained to do that. But I said, this is the devil. And I went into prayer. And I called our pastors and said, you got to pray. And we have to cast the demons out of the nation. And after we did, the president addressed the nation. They were in the